Years ago, I was invited to speak in Argentina. The flight was from Minnesota to New York to Miami to Chile, Buenos Aires. I don't fly well. I hate it. It's uncomfortable. I suffer through it. And this was a particularly difficult, long, verschleppte Krenk. When I finally arrive in Buenos Aires, the shliach there picks me up at the airport, takes me to a hotel room so that I can recover, and the next day we start the lecture tour. Picks me up, we're in the car, we're driving along, and he says, by the way, there's a woman in town who suffered a terrible tragedy. She is severely depressed. She hasn't come out of her apartment in 6 months, and she refuses to talk to anybody. But when we told her you were coming, she agreed to talk to you. So we'll stop at her apartment on the way to the hotel, and you'll talk to her. I was furious. I couldn't believe it. It has to be on the way to the hotel? But what bothered me the most, see, you didn't even tell me. You didn't ask me, you didn't warn me, you didn't tell me. What is this? Come into the apartment, and this woman literally looks like she has passed away and nobody told her. There was no life in her eyes. There was no tone in her voice. There was no color in her skin. I mean, she hadn't left the apartment in 6 months. She looked terrible. She tells me the story, 19-year-old son, driving back from their country home, gets into a car accident, and then she tells me what a fantastic kid he was. What an exceptional, respectful, helpful, all the great qualities. She finishes, what can you say? So I said, that sounds like a fantastic kid you had. And you had him for 19 years. She was not impressed. So I said, imagine if there was no shock. Imagine God comes to you and says, there is this fantastic soul in heaven. He needs to be born and live for 19 years. I'm looking for someone to be his mother. I said, what would you have said if God had asked you? I was sure she would say yes. Most people would. She said, absolutely not. Without thinking, I said, well, it's a good thing he didn't ask you. The floodgates opened up. She cried like she needed to cry for the last 6 months. And in front of my eyes, she came back to life. Literally the resurrection. She came back to life in 20 minutes in front of my eyes. It was the most incredible, the most emotional. There were no words. Now we're back in the car, going to the hotel room. And I'm thinking, I was so angry because they didn't ask me. And then I thought, if they had asked me, what would I have said? I would have said, absolutely not. And it would have been the wrong answer, because I would not give up that experience for anything. I would say that in 50 some years of talking to people, that has got to be way up there as the most significant, most amazing. To say no to that, got to be crazy. And I would have been crazy. And I would have said no. The moral of the story is that it's a good thing that God doesn't ask us. You want a challenge in your life? Not particularly, no. Want an uphill struggle? Absolutely not. Want to get married? Not if I don't have to. What would we amount to if we got to choose? So it's really a good thing. God doesn't ask. He has more confidence in us than we have.